I really liked it. Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to another movie review with your boy GorTheMovieGod, that's me, hi! And this time I'm talking about Christopher Robin, which of course is the brand new Winnie the Pooh movie, and I love me some Winnie the Pooh. Anybody saw that 2011 movie, the 2D animated one from Disney? Not many people did, but I loved it. You should go check it out. If you haven't, it's a short watch too. It's like, what, 70 minutes long, if that. So it's a great movie, and ever since then I was like, you know what, Disney? You should do more of these. These are great. You need to do more. And it took them a little while, and now we're getting a new Winnie the Pooh movie, or we got a new Winnie the Pooh movie. I just saw it. Let me tell you what I thought of it. Christopher Robin is a great family film. This is a movie that I would actually categorize as a family film. You should watch this with your family, because not only will your kids like it, but if you grew up reading or watching Winnie the Pooh in any form, you will love this, because they do not screw up the Winnie the Pooh formula at all. If you love Winnie the Pooh, these characters are the same characters that you grew up with, and it is marvelous to see them in live action, because I was a little worried when I heard a live action Winnie the Pooh. I thought it'd be like the Smurfs or something where they screwed that up, even though I wasn't a big fan of the Smurfs anyway. But man, that movie was horrendous, and the sequel I didn't see, but the first one was horrendous. But this, I was worried that they might do that, but it's Disney, so I was like, okay, maybe they won't. They've been on a really good track record. Even if you didn't like Beauty and the Beast, it was nowhere near as bad as like the Smurfs and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, I have high hopes for it. And when I looked at it, I was like, oh man, this looks great. I love the way that all the animals look like stuffed animals. They should, because they're stuffed animals. And I love the way Winnie the Pooh looks. I know a lot of people didn't care for it, but he looked like a teddy bear. He looked lovable. He looked adorable. And I like that they didn't make him look very vibrant and he pops out completely, because when it comes to Winnie the Pooh, it makes sense for this to be kind of like darker in like color tone, like very gray in tone, because it's set in London in like I think the early 1900s. And the original story of how Winnie the Pooh got made from the author A.A. Milne, I can't pronounce his name, I'm sorry, makes sense for this to be kind of grayer in color tone, I guess, because it is still a fun movie, don't get me wrong, but just the tone of the colors in the movie, the way everything looks, does not fit the emotional and fun of the film. I will say that it's a little weird how everything's really fun and stuff, and everything looks really dark and dry. It's kind of like with Wonder Woman, where everything was dark and dry, but it's still a lot of fun. But it's weird if you think about it, but if you watch it, it works completely. And now let me talk about Winnie and the Gang, which sounds like an episode of Always Sunny. But Winnie, Eeyore, Rabbit, Roo, Piglet, everybody, Tigger, all of them look phenomenal. They look like stuffed animals. The way they move and interact with the environment is very realistic. The fur on their skin and stuff like that, and just the way they look is incredible. And you never ever think you're looking at CG. It reminded me very much of Paddington, where Paddington and Paddington 1 and 2 was phenomenal, and you never think about, oh, this is CG. Same thing for like stuff like War for the Planet of the Apes. We're getting to the point where CG, and we've actually had this for a long time with CG, but we've come to the point where characters that are completely CG, you can't even tell that they're CG. Like, we've had CG in the past where buildings in the background and stuff like that were CG and you couldn't tell because maybe the camera's going by very fast or the CG is just that good. But we haven't had too many movies where characters you cannot tell are CG until like the last few years, I believe. This, War for the Planet of the Apes, Paddington, these are all great examples of great CG creations where they're main characters and they nail it. They make it really realistic. They feel like they are in the environment and it looks gorgeous. All these characters are not only well designed, they look great, they fit in this world where it's all gray in tone, like I said, but it really just is so charming to watch how these characters interact with the 100 Acre Wood and interact with Christopher Robin and stuff. It's great. It really is. I loved it. Now, speaking of Christopher Robin, Ewan McGregor is a great choice for Christopher Robin. He has a lot of charm to him, but he also has that stuffiness that Christopher Robin needs to have, kind of like how Robin Williams had that stuffiness when he played older Peter Pan and Hook, and then he went to Neverland again, and everything was, hey, I'm a child again and stuff. It's the same thing here, but it actually works more here because you could tell he wants to be that kid again, but he has to do the work. And there's a whole thing where he has to do the work this weekend, so he can't go out with his family and have fun. And he's getting pressured by not only his work, but his wife, because his wife's telling him, like, you need to spend more time with us. You're not doing anything with us. You're just working. And he's working because he needs to not only support him and his family, but he also has to support the people that work under him, because he's like a manager of some company. So he has to actually work and try to support everybody else in there, or they're going to lose their jobs, and then he's going to lose his job, and then now he can't even support the family. So you feel for him. You feel his frustration and stress. There's even a guy that really wants to play gin rummy with him that keeps bothering him about gin rummy every 5 seconds. You want to play gin rummy? I'm like, no, I won't play gin rummy with you. I don't know who you are. And I'm surprised that never came back into play. I thought that would come back into the later part of the movie, but it never did. But I guess it was just supposed to be a comedic segment. But that whole stuff is great. I really felt his frustration. My main problem with it, though, the story, is that the boss character, the character that comes in and says, you need to do this, Christopher Robin, before the end of the week, or you're fired and everybody else is fired, is really cartoonish, very like evil British, and he's also like goofy British, which is really annoying. And also everything in that like company, whenever he's at work, is really, really cringe. Like, it's very cringy, because there's other characters that, like, there's one character that has the big glasses and like messed up teeth, and she's like saying funny things, and there's a whole funny scene where they're trying to, well, funny, I should quote, because it wasn't funny. It was definitely for little kids, but no one was laughing in the theater for those scenes. It didn't work, sorry. But they're all like trying to listen to what Christopher Robin and the boss are trying to say, and they're like mixing up the lines and say, it's stupid. Just believe me, it's dumb. It's really stupid. And you know what? Considering I'm talking about the negatives, I might as well get the other negative I have out of the way. Actually, I have two. One of them isn't that big of a negative. The one small negative is the supporting cast feels a little bit wasted, like Haley Atwell and maybe even the daughter character, Christopher Robin's daughter in the movie. I feel like they're kind of wasted. They don't really come into play towards the end of the movie. But when they're there, they're good. So I can't really even say they're negatives. I just wish to see them more in the movie. But it might have also ruined the pace of the film, which, by the way, the pace here is steady and perfect. I love the pace of this movie. Even though, like I said, the boss stuff was weird, but everything else, great. So I guess it wasn't perfect, but you know what I mean. It was really good. But that was probably one little negative I could look past. But the other negative is the ending. The ending left a bad taste in my mouth, and it was just because it was so obvious and so corny, generic, and ham-fisted. If you see the movie, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not exactly talking about the exact like last couple minutes of the movie, but they have a scene right before that where he figures out his problem, and it's so, I think it's bad. It's straight up bad, which really, it almost brought the movie down a whole point for me, which, when a movie has a scene like that, you know it's bad. So it was just bad and so ham-fisted. Something you would probably see in the Smurfs movie. So it was really, really unfortunate. But back to the positives, because I want to get back to it. This movie's charming. Every other scene besides the one I was talking about, the whole working aspect and all that stuff, and even some of the wasted stuff with the side characters, everything else is fantastic in this movie. I had a blast. I really did. I was so charmed and so, I teared up like at least 10 times in this movie. Like I said, the color palette and the tone of the film, just the way it looks, really fits with the story itself, at least for the most part, until it gets goofy here and there. But it makes sense for what is happening here. The first 15 minutes, like I said, is great. It really is fantastic. It shows Christopher Robin as a kid saying goodbye to his friends, Winnie and all of them, and having to grow up, go to boarding school, learn how to do all this stuff, go to war. You see all this stuff in the first 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. And it's great. It really is. It's a great little like montage to see what he's been up to. And it's fantastic. Some of the best Winnie the Pooh stuff I've ever seen. And like I said, it didn't really stay the course really when it comes to amazing. It was like amazing. It was just like, it's really good, really good. It's great. It's good. It's great. There you go. It just kept riding a weird tidal wave of good to meh to great. It was great for a long time, and then it went back down to meh when it went back to the workplace, and it was great again. I mean, the movie itself is corny. Don't get me wrong. It's cheesy. It's hokey. A lot of it, even the great stuff, I would say, is is corny and hokey, but that's what works about it. It's Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh's gonna say some things that are both funny and kind of corny, but it works. He's a bear with a big heart, small brains. He has small brains, but he's adorable, and you love him. Every time he's on the screen, you love him. In the first hour, he spends a lot of time with Christopher Robin, and it's great to see those two characters interact. The CG is flawless, like I said. Ewan McGregor does a great job. Jim Cummings, do I need to tell you how great he is as Winnie the Pooh and Tigger? He's so good in this movie. He's been doing this for 30-something years. He's the master. He's so great. God, it's gonna be so sad when he passes away. But he's 65. It's gonna be a long. I'll probably be dead before he's dead. So it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, he's great in the movie. The rest of the cast does a great job. The voice cast. Brad Garrett plays Eeyore, and he does an amazing job. Holy, it's so good. I couldn't believe how good it was. But to be fair, I guess it does make sense because Brad Garrett does have a voice that sounds very like oh, sad and stuff, just like Eeyore. I love Eeyore, poor little guy. But so he's great in it. Peter Capaldi plays Rabbit, and he does a good job. Toby Jones plays Owl. There's a lot of great voice actors here, is what I'm saying. The voice cast is phenomenal. And one thing I really have to give it credit, the voice acting, the visuals, the way they act, it does justice to the characters completely. All the characters you love are there. They even bring up the Heffalump, which I appreciated. It's so great. It really is. It's such a great time when it's about the characters from the 100 Acre Woods. It really drops the ball when it comes to the work aspect. And really, there's only like 2 or 3 scenes at the workplace, but they're a little bit long and they're stupid and they really ruin the pace. So while I said the pace is really perfect, it's not. It's really good though. Yeah, it's very charming. It's emotional. I teared up so many times. Winnie the Pooh is a philosopher for our times, and you should definitely listen to him. In this day and age, this movie is needed. Okay, when everything's just going to shit, you can just put this movie on and go, you know, everything's okay. Everything could be okay, at least. Maybe everything's not okay, but you can watch this movie and for an hour and a half, everything's A-okay. And then after that, watch Paddington 1 and 2, and then for the next 3 hours, everything's okay as well. So that's a great little triple feature. Watch Paddington 1, 2, and this. Do it! If you have a kid or, you know, some sort of family, you know, cousins, you know, granddaughters, you know, whatever it is, go check out this movie with them. They're going to have a great time, and you're going to have a great time too. It is the perfect family film for right now. I guess you can also see Incredibles 2, that's still out, but whatever. You know, if you want to see a new movie, go check this one out. Or you could go see The Darkest Minds if you want to waste your time. Whatever. Guess you could. Go see The Spy Who Drugged Me, or whatever it's called. Go see that. You can go see that too. You can go see what came out last week. Mission Impossible. Oh, no, see that. Never mind. Hey, this movie's great. Go see Mission Impossible. But if you need a family film, this is a great one. I highly recommend it. I give it a 34 out of 40, which translates to an 8.5. It's a great score. It's a couple problems, like I said, but I really enjoyed it, and I highly recommend you go check it out. Check it out. Whatever. I don't care. I can't speak. Bye.